One week before my wedding, my fiancé's family took him on a trip. When he came back, he seemed distant and told me, "I think we should take a break." I smiled, handed him a file and said, "Funny, I just got some details about that trip." After reading it, he glared at his parents in pure anger. I was supposed to get married last month. Everything was ready. My dress, the guests, the cake. We had spent months planning it all. The wedding was set to happen in Savannah, Georgia, where we live. I thought everything was fine. My fiancé Derek and I had been together for 3 years and I truly believed he was the one. We weren't perfect, but who is? We didn't argue much. He made me laugh, and we wanted the same things. I was happy. His parents, though, weren't as thrilled. His mom, Ruth, is the type who sizes you up, like she's deciding if your shoes are nice enough to talk to you. His dad, Walter, doesn't say much unless it's to brag about his car or complain about kids these days. They never really liked me. I don't come from a fancy background. I have a regular job, and I'm not into golf memberships or debating which school is better. I knew they thought Derek could do better, but he always reassured me, saying they'd eventually come around. They didn't. About a week before the wedding, Derek told me his parents were taking him on a trip to Miami. There was no real reason, just a last-minute getaway before the big day. The timing seemed odd, but I didn't want to make a fuss, so I just said, "Okay." Looking back, I should have picked up on something being off when he seemed way too eager to leave. He barely even said goodbye when he left that Thursday. By Saturday night, I started to feel like something wasn't right. My best friend, C, lives in Miami. Total coincidence. She works at a downtown bar, the kind where people go to flaunt their wealth. She called me during her shift. "Hey, isn't Derek supposed to be getting married next weekend?" "Yeah, why?" "Well, I think I just saw him with his parents and some girl." My stomach dropped when she told me. She said they'd been sitting at one of the VIP tables all night. Derek, his mom, his dad, and some random girl. Young, blonde, with a fake tan, wearing a short dress. Not someone who looked like she just happened to be near them. CA said Ruth and Walter were all over her, laughing and asking her questions. Derek wasn't exactly pushing her away either. That's when it hit me. It wasn't just about getting away before the wedding. They were trying to set Derek up with someone else, and they were doing it right before I was supposed to marry him. I don't remember much after that call. I just sat on the couch in silence for a long time. Then, I got mad. Really mad. And when I get mad, I get focused. Sunday morning, I started making calls. I found a private investigator in Miami who specialized in relationship issues and paid extra to have him follow Derek and his family until they left. By Monday afternoon, I had the first set of photos. By Tuesday, I had video. By Wednesday, I had a full report. Restaurants, hotels, bars, poolside, shopping, another dinner. In every single photo, Derek was next to that girl. Holding doors for her, laughing at her jokes, sitting close. His parents were encouraging it. There was even a photo of Ruth and Walter walking ahead of them, holding hands like proud parents, while Derek and this girl lagged behind, whispering to each other. I didn't tell anyone yet. I just waited. Derek got back late Sunday night. On Monday morning, he came over. I acted normal, made coffee, asked how the trip was. He was quiet, nervous, and wouldn't look me in the eye. Then he said it. "I think we should take a break." I stared at him. A break? 6 days before the wedding? I didn't ask why or what had changed. I just smiled, grabbed the folder with the photos and the report from the table, and slid it over to him. "That's funny," I said, "because I just got some information about that trip." He opened it. At first he looked confused. Then his face went pale. I watched as he flipped through the photos over and over, like maybe if he looked long enough, they'd change. They didn't. That's when the front door opened, and Ruth and Walter walked in like they owned the place. Ruth was carrying a planner, and Walter was on his phone. "Hope we're not too early," Ruth said. "We have a lot to go over, Todd." Then she saw Derek's face, the folder, and me sitting there with my coffee, watching everything. It was dead silent for a full minute. Finally, Derek found his voice. "What the hell is this?" But he wasn't asking me. He was looking at Ruth and Walter. Walter pretended not to hear. Ruth tried to laugh it off. "Oh, come on, don't be dramatic." Derek looked back at the folder, then at me. "How did you get these?" I shrugged. "Doesn't matter. You and your parents can figure out what to do next. I'm done." And that's where things stand now. No final decision yet. The wedding is obviously off for now. I haven't even told most of my friends or family yet. I'm still figuring out what to do next. But watching Derek realize his own parents tried to replace me with someone else just 5 days before we were supposed to get married, let's just say that was the first moment I'd felt good in days. The silence after I said I was done hung in the air like a thick fog. Ruth set her planner down on the counter, like we were still going to sit down and talk about flowers or seating charts. "Let's not overreact," she said, all smooth and fake, like I was making things difficult on purpose. "These pictures don't mean anything. We just wanted Derek to meet some new people. That's normal." I looked at Derek. He was still staring at the folder like he was trying to figure out what it said just by looking at the photos. "New people," I repeated, louder than I meant to. "A week before our wedding, you thought that was normal?" Walter finally looked up from his phone. "Don't make a scene," he said, not even flinching. "We were thinking long term. We didn't want Derek to get tied down if there might be better options." I swear, it felt like all the air left my lungs. "Better options?" Derek didn't say a word. He just kept flipping through the folder, like maybe the outcome would change if he looked again. His face was red now. Whether from embarrassment, anger, or both, I couldn't tell. "You let them do this," I said to him. "You went along with it." Finally, he looked up. "It wasn't like that." "What was it like?" I asked. "You thought you'd try out someone new while your fiancé stayed home finishing the guest list." He rubbed his forehead, like I was the one causing the problem. "I just wanted to keep the peace." That's when I laughed. It wasn't planned. It just came out, loud and sharp. "Keep the peace," I said. "You could have just told me you didn't want to get married. Instead, you flew to Miami to see if someone better came along." Ruth sat down on the couch like she owned the place. "This is getting ridiculous. We didn't tell you because we knew how you'd react. Emotional. Over the top. Look at yourself." I don't even know what came over me. But I picked up the folder, pulled out a photo of Derek and the girl, Madison according to the report, and shoved it in Ruth's face. "This is ridiculous," I said. "You took her on a trip with your son and tried to replace me. How do you not hear yourself?" Walter stood up and straightened his jacket like he was about to walk out of a business meeting. "You should calm down. This doesn't need to get messy." That's when something inside me shifted. "Oh, it's already messy," I said. "And it's about to get a whole lot worse." I didn't even mean to say it. It just slipped out. But the moment I did, I realized I wasn't bluffing. I still had the full PI report sitting in my email. A lot more than what I printed. Receipts, room charges, flight changes. I even had a video of Ruth and Madison sitting at the hotel bar where Ruth told her word for word, "Once this little wedding blows over, you and Derek will have all the time in the world." I hadn't shown Derek that part yet, or anyone else, but now I was thinking maybe I should. Derek ran his hand through his hair. Look, I don't even like Madison. My mom invited her. It wasn't my idea. Did you tell her to leave? No. Silence. Yeah, thought so. Then Ruth turned to Derek, completely ignoring me. Enough. Don't let her ruin everything. We can fix this. Just tell her you didn't mean it. Get her to calm down and we'll move forward. She actually said that right in front of me, like I was just some problem to be smoothed over. That's when Derek finally snapped. Mom, stop. And for the first time, Ruth looked surprised. What? Stop, Derek said again, this time quieter. You're making it worse. Oh, now I'm making it worse? Ruth shot back. I'm the one who spent months cleaning up after her bad taste. Do you know how embarrassing this wedding has been for us? The guest list, the menu, the decorations, none of it is up to standard. My head felt like it was going to explode. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked straight at Derek. And this is what you're okay with? You're still going to defend them? He didn't answer. That's when my phone buzzed on the table. I glanced down. It was Q. Text message. Girl, I just overheard Madison at the bar. You're not going to believe what she's saying. Call me ASAP. I looked straight at Ruth. I think I'll be making some calls, I said, standing up. Actually, I think I'll be making a lot of calls. Walter finally spoke up again. Let's be reasonable. We don't need to make this public. Too late, I replied. Because that's when I got an idea. If Madison was still in Miami running her mouth, I wanted to hear exactly what she was saying. And if Ruth and Walter thought this was going to stay quiet, they had no idea who they were dealing with. I didn't reply to Cece's text right away. I just stood there, staring at the three of them, sitting in my living room like it was any normal day. Derek looking guilty, Ruth looking annoyed, Walter pretending he wasn't involved. And all I could think was, what else are they hiding? Because if Madison was still in Miami talking and Sai thought it was important enough to text me during work, then there was definitely more to this. I turned to Derek. How long have you known Madison? He shook his head. I told you I didn't know her before the trip. Ruth scoffed. Please, stop acting like you're on trial. Nobody did anything wrong but Derek. He didn't look so sure anymore. I grabbed my phone and walked into the kitchen, then called C. She picked up right away. Hey, you need to hear this, she said. Madison's been here all afternoon, bragging about how she's finally sealing the deal. I didn't say anything, and C kept going. She told her friend your wedding was never supposed to happen. Apparently, Ruth promised her that if she got close enough to Derek on the trip, they'd take care of the rest. Take care of the rest? I repeated. Yeah, like ending the wedding and replacing you. Madison's been telling everyone she was flown out to Miami specifically to break you two up. That's when my heart started racing. This wasn't just some random invite. CIE said they planned it. I hung up, walked back into the living room, put my phone on the table and stared straight at Ruth. So, I said, how much did you pay her? She blinked. Excuse me? Madison. How much did you pay her to come on the trip and throw herself at Derek? Walter shifted in his seat. Derek rubbed his hands over his face. Ruth smiled. You really are dramatic, she said. I just got off the phone with someone who overheard Madison explaining the whole plan. She said you promised her the wedding would be called off and that Derek would be available. So again, how much did you pay her? Still no answer. Then Derek looked at Ruth and said quietly, Wait, did you? And Ruth, bless her, didn't even deny it. She just shrugged. We gave her a little incentive. Nothing serious, a few gifts, some spending money. Why are we acting like this is such a big deal? I couldn't believe it. They actually paid her. Paid another woman to help break us up before the wedding. And Derek? He just sat there looking like he was finally realizing how deep he was in it. I thought you invited her as a friend of the family, he said. Ruth laughed. Please. You didn't seem to mind her company. Now Derek looked sick. That's when I decided to take it further. Oh, and by the way, I said, Madison's been running her mouth all day. If I wanted to, I could share that little story with a few people. Maybe post it online, maybe send it to the venues, maybe let the wedding guests know exactly why things are off. Walter cleared his throat. There's no need for that. Let's not do anything drastic. But I wasn't finished. Drastic? I said. You think I'm being drastic? Your family tried to replace me a week before my wedding, and I'm the problem? And then, like a cherry on top, my phone buzzed again. Another text from Sae. Just found out Madison's still in town and she's asking when Derek's coming back. I looked at Derek. Did you know she stuck around? He shook his head quickly. No, I didn't. I haven't talked to her since the trip, I swear. But now everything was starting to make sense. Ruth had hired Madison to mess with Derek's head. She probably promised her more than just some spending money. Madison clearly thought this was going to turn into something serious, and Derek, either he was lying or he was completely clueless. Neither option was good. Tell me the truth, I said to him. Did you ever want to call off the wedding before Miami? He hesitated. Maybe, he finally said. I wasn't sure. And they kept saying maybe I should see what else is out there. I just nodded. Cool, I said. Good to know. Because that was all I needed to hear. I wasn't just dealing with manipulative future in-laws, I was dealing with a man who stood by and let it happen, then called it keeping the peace. And Madison. She wasn't just some random girl they invited. She was part of the plan. A plan that wasn't over yet. If she was still in town, waiting for Derek to come crawling back, then Ruth's little scheme was still in motion. But here's the thing. So am I. And now I've got all the proof. And they know I know. It's time they finally voiced the consequences. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up just replaying everything over and over. The trip, Madison, the lies, and Derek admitting he wasn't even sure he wanted to marry me before Miami. Now I understood why the whole trip felt off. It was never a family vacation. It was a setup. By morning, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I made a few calls. I forwarded the PI report to my best friend, T. I texted my maid of honor, Tina, to meet me at the coffee shop near my apartment. I needed backup. Are you sure you're ready for this? Tina asked. Oh, I'm beyond ready, I said. It's time they explain themselves to everyone. And that's how I ended up inviting Derek, Ruth, Walter, and Madison to the venue the next day, the actual wedding venue. I told them we needed an urgent meeting about the ceremony. Ruth, of course, loved the idea of a last-minute rehearsal. She had no idea what was coming. By noon, everyone had shown up. The venue staff were setting up chairs for the real wedding, which was supposed to take place in a few days. It felt surreal watching them prepare while my entire relationship was about to blow up. Madison was the last to arrive, dressed like she thought she was the bride. Short white dress, heels, and makeup like she was heading to a nightclub. When she saw me, she smirked. I didn't realize this was a group meeting, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Yeah, I said. Figured we'd clear the air. Everyone sat down at one of the big round tables meant for the reception. Derek looked drained. Walter looked bored. Ruth looked smug. Madison looked like she thought she'd already won. And me? I opened my laptop, connected it to the venue's projector, and pulled up the photos from the PI report on the big screen behind me. First slide. Derek and Madison by the pool. Second slide. Ruth and Madison having drinks. Third slide. Madison kissing Derek on the cheek while Walter watched. The room was silent. I clicked play on the video. The one where Ruth told Madison exactly what to do. Once this little wedding blows over, you and Derek will have all the time in the world. The only sound was Ruth's voice echoing off the walls. When it ended, I turned to face them. Anyone want to explain that? Ruth was the first to speak. Oh, grow up. You're making this into a scandal. Nothing happened. Derek didn't cheat. Madison is just a friend. A friend you paid? I shot back. We know Madison told everyone at the bar in Miami. Half of South Beach knows about the plan by now. Madison tossed her hair. Well, I wouldn't say half, but yeah, it wasn't exactly a secret. Your little wedding was never going to happen. Derek deserves someone who fits in, someone with class. She actually said that out loud. Tina, who had been quiet until then, let out a sarcastic laugh and muttered, Jesus Christ. Then Derek stood up, and for a second, I thought he might finally defend me. But no. He looked at his mom, then at Madison, then at me. All he said was, I think we should all just go our separate ways. That's when I realized he was never going to stand up for me. Not now, not ever. This wasn't just Ruth's plan. Derek was fine with it. Maybe he didn't come up with it, but he let it happen. He watched it happen. He wanted an out, and his parents gave him one. I closed my laptop, packed it into my bag, and stood up. Well, I said, this is the last time any of you will see me. Good luck explaining this when people start asking why the wedding's off. And with that, I walked out. The moment I stepped outside, Tina followed me. You handled that like a queen, she said. Honestly, you should have slapped someone, but what you did was even better. About 10 minutes later, Callie called me. You won't believe this, Ashay, she said. Madison's already posting Instagram stories like she's just gotten engaged to Derek. She's literally hashtagging future misses an upgrade. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because, what else can you do? By the end of the day, people were texting me, asking why the wedding was suddenly off. Ruth tried to spin it as a mutual decision, but that didn't last long. Madison couldn't keep her mouth shut, and by the next week, everyone knew. The fallout? Ruth and Walter lost a lot of friends. Turns out people aren't too keen on attending a wedding where the groom's parents tried to bribe another woman to replace the bride. Derek stayed with Madison for about 3 weeks. She left as soon as she realized the glamorous life she was promised wasn't real. No wedding, no fancy lifestyle, no cash. Just Derek and his bland personality. Madison got roasted online. CI might have shared some of the Miami stories with the right people. As for me, it hurt. Way more than I was willing to admit. For a long time, I kept replaying everything in my head, wondering what I missed, how I didn't see the signs, and how Derek let it all happen.